Okay, so this is an interesting problem. As I got into it and started trying out some different examples, trying to get my mind around it, I realized that maybe the first thing I should do was to, instead of finding two numbers that were multiples of each other, look what a multiple would possibly be like. So what I did is I kind of made this little chart that looked like this, right? You know, made my fictitious 7-digit number. And if there's another 7-digit number that's a multiple of that, then it's going to be times something. So I started off by thinking about what's it going to look like if I multiply by 2. Had a little bit of trouble getting my mind around it until I realized that it didn't matter the order of the 7 numbers, but I was going to get some specific things. And those specific things are, when I multiplied by a 1, I was going to get a 2, a 4, a 6, an 8, a 10, a 12, and a 14. Which meant I was going to carry a 1 3 times. And if I did that, then I would add that to each of those. And then I realized that that gave me a big problem because I need to have a 7-digit number that uses the digits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But I've only got 3 1s that I can carry, which means there's no way I can get all 4 odd numbers. And so I quickly realized, wait a second, that's nice because now I can't get a multiple of 2 to work. A multiple of 2 does not satisfy this. So then I started realizing, well, wait a second. Maybe I can really narrow down what I have to look at by taking this same approach to all the multiples. So I started with 3, and I said, you know, with a 3, it goes 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, and 21. Again, I got looking at these numbers. I realized that at best I could carry 2 2s, right? If I had the 18 followed by the 21 followed by the 18, then I'd carry a 2 there to get to 20, and then I'd carry 2 to get to to the next one. However, the problem with that is I don't want a 20. I can't have a 20, and so actually this 8 gives me lots of problems because wherever I put a 6, let's say it looks like something like this, and then I'd have 1, and I'd have a 9, and so I would have to, on this 18, I would have to at least carry a 3 into that to get it to a 1. Because, you carry the 8 plus a 3, and then you get to 1. And so I realized I'm not going to be able to carry a 3 out of any of these, so multiples of 3 didn't work. So then I said, well, let's check out multiples of 4. Well, multiples of 4 would give you 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28. I have this 8, like we were talking about, and so I have to carry a 3. Well, the only way to carry a 3 would be to carry have the 28 be right after the 24. So something that would look like this. If I had the 7 here, the 6 here, and then the 2 here, and so that would look, and then just to kind of make it easy, let's consider the 1 there. Well, that couldn't be because you'd have 2 4s in a row, so it's going to have to be something like the 3, and so that's going to give me 2, carry the 1, which gives me a 5, carry the 2, the 28. Oh, now I see a big problem because I actually had two 8s. And there's no way that I can carry 2 3s into those 8s, and so I can't possibly have a multiple of 4. So then I looked at multiples of 5. Well, multiples of 5 is easy to see that you can't do because, clearly you're just getting 10 zeros and 5s, and so we can't possibly do that. So I looked at multiples of 6s, and multiples of 6s, again, there's that 8 that can give us so many problems. And so, I'm looking here and got lots of different possibilities, and so I would need to get an 8 somewhere in here, and so in this one I would need to carry at least a 3 or a 4 on that. The real issue that I'm going to run into is having these 2 6s, because even if I had it like this, as this is a 1, which would give me the 6, well, that's not going to work, so it can't be the 1 there. So if I let this be the 6, then that's not going to work. And so basically, somehow or another, I need I would need the both of these are going to have something carried into them. The 6 and the 6 would both need to have something carried into them. So if I had a 1 here, and then the 6 over here, so that would give me 6, and so I'd have to have a 1 carried in, so I'd need like the 2 in front of it, which would work, and then I'd carry a 3. But if I end up carrying a 3 into the 4, then I'm going to get myself into trouble, but I need to carry a 3 into the 18. And so what you end up finding out as you go through and try all the possibilities with 6, that you start getting yourself into trouble. And actually what ends up happening is the 1 has to be over here, because if you put a 2 there, then you don't get a 7-digit number. So it turns out that after you start trying possibilities, you realize your 1 has to go there, so something has to carry in the 1, something has to carry into this 6, and so the best you can do is have 2 7s, which isn't possible. So your last thing to look at is if you have a 7, and if this is a 7, well, your only possibility is 1 and 2, which again, that means that you're going to start with an 8, and an 8, you can't possibly start with an 8 because that's not one of your digits, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So what you found out after doing all this kind of trial and error is that there's no number that you can multiply by these 7 digits and allow yourself not to get an 8, 9, or a 0. That means there is no of these 7-digit numbers that when you multiply it by something gets you another 7-digit numbers just using those digits.